Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. My apologies to the YouTube video viewers. I was in the hospital with my daughter, so I couldn't put this out in time. I'm back to this, so hopefully, this will still be useful to you. You still have a week ahead. Let's go. So let's start. I'll start with dollar index. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, make sure you check when you see this video, go check some more of my video. The method we're using is called wave analysis. If you're seeing this for the first time, it is an amazing method that allows you to do very accurate forecast. Based on those forecasts, if you have a good strategy and you use good money management, you can make money. Yep, that is a fact, right? Now let's go to see what we're going to do. What I'm going to give you today is the analysis. Without the strategy, without the money management, and without the trade management, which is about 80% of what you're going to do, trade management. It's about 80% of your trading. If you do that, then the chances are, even if you take a trade that is not very good, you're going to get out for positive or break even. So dollar index, let's look at what we have. I'm going to go through the big picture as well, just to remind you, because I wasn't there for a couple of days. Big pictures, we're still in this impulse going. And we don't know how far it's going to go. Like I said, right now, this impulse, it doesn't belong to this anymore because it started to look too big. If it gets too big, then it becomes part of a much bigger impulse on the monthly. Right? It becomes part of a bigger impulse, which is part of this whole thing. And that means it could get much bigger than just breaking this top. As of now, we're going to look at it coming back to break this top, if it does. If we break that top, that changes a lot. That changes the whole dynamic. Remember, if you remember what I said, we're looking at this mostly as a corrective structure right now. And the reason for that is because we've got these deep corrections in here. But we don't know what's happened here. If I knew what happened there, then I could give you more accurate forecast. But what we have is a single impulse there and a single impulse coming here. So depending on whether this came from the top or whether it came from the bottom. If it came from the bottom, this one could literally continue to go up. This could be all the correction. Right? If it came from the top, here, let's assume it came from the top, then this one could as well come back to the top here and then drop, making this a big flat with a very slow start here. But even if that is going to happen, what we learned from wave analysis, that at some point, because it is like this, at some point, this one might do this and go. Now, we didn't see that in this, right? We didn't see this kind of big correction there, which is telling me that, this here was either ending something, not coming from the top, but most likely coming from this side, which means this was like the end of that big move, and we're in this big move here now, whatever that is. And there's a very good chance we could go lower and then go back up, right? There's a very good chance that this here, all of this here might turn out to be more of a bigger flat or something. Come back here, probably go back there, come here, and then go, right? Kind of make a flat in there, retest the low, and then go. So we could be in this range here for a very long time. That is a possibility. We're going to look for now is the end of that structure. At some point, that thing ends. Can it stretch like this? Well, it doesn't matter because any buy setup we get, we will take. We're not stop buying it because we think, but we're very cautious on the buy side of it. So on the 4 hour, when you get there, if there's a buy, we buy. Remember, this was a buy. We took that buy to break this top. Once it break the top and make a flag, you continue. We're making a flag here or a flat, we're going to buy. So what I think we're making right now here is a flat. You had a flat here, a small, more of an expanding flat. You're getting another flat here. This would likely come down, probably even go back up there, come here, depending on how this flat looks, or come all the way to the bottom and then go back up. If it does that, we'll be buying. Now, is there a chance that this is the downside? That would be possible, but it's unlikely because of the depth of the pullback of that. Every time we see the depth of that pullback, we have to be cautious that it could be a flat. It doesn't mean we're not going to sell. If we get a sell set up under here, we're definitely selling. So within this range, if it comes to the bottom, we look for a buy. If it makes a new high, we might consider the buy. Not that I would like it, but if they make a new high here, we might consider that buy because it could do this, come back here, give you a running flat, and then go. So it all depends on how we see what happens in there. So let's go in the 1 hour now. Oh, I'm in the 1 hour. So you go into 15 minutes and you're looking at that. And right now it looks like this. You see there's a flat kind of flat pattern. Can we look at this as all the correction? Possible, but then this would be going up. It wouldn't be stuck here. So what we think we're doing is making a correction in here that will go back up. We'll likely get 1, 2, 3. We will take this straight up because when it breaks this top, we don't know for a fact that it stops there. It could go higher. But if it stops there to come back down, we will get out of that trade. Now that we are aware that it could do that, we have strict rules of how you're going to get out of it if it does that. If you're not aware of that it's going to do that, then you wouldn't be looking for those things to say, okay, this is what it will do, then we need to exit. Right? So we're going to take this to the upside and we're going to see how far it goes. After which I think they're likely going to come back down. And then we're going to go, well, if it continues to go, who cares? We're in the buy, right? If this is all a correction, we're in the buy. I don't think that is only correction. Again, because of this, we understand the way these patterns develop, but when we see that development in a pattern, we know it's not the, it's still part of the correction. So most likely we'll be looking for a buy structure. It is coming down right now. I would not be selling this one in this. If I'm looking at a dollar index to sell, I would not be taking this up. Now, if I see a better sell in one of the other pairs, we'll probably take it. So if I see like the yen or the Swiss or the CAD is going to drop, or the euro, the pound, or the Aussie has a buy in it, we'll probably take it if there's a risk to reward within that trade. So this one, just leave it as nothing. Let's go. Let me take all of these out. These were since from Thursday because I wasn't in the chart from that point. So this was a sell setup here. Take it out. That was Thursday. That wasn't even Friday. And let's take this off. So let's go back to this one here and on the daily. And this is where we are. We're still coming down in this, right? It did go back up and it's kind of consolidating here. If you notice, like they look like they're consolidating in this range. Remember what I told you, if you were there when this go, is that this could totally break off. But when we had that flat in there, I said, okay, be careful. This could be a 1, 2, 3, just like I showed you just now in the dollar index. Come back to the low. And there's a very high probability this could go. Because we're not looking for this to be a running flat. This one was a running flat with something in the past, if I remember. Right? We were having some other flat patterns. Nope, we don't have any. So most likely, this is pretty sharp. So I wouldn't put it as a running flat. Just leave that as a correction of its own. So what we will do now is we'll watch this. Is it going to come back all the way here? Because if it comes here, it still is going to go back up there and then drop. We'll look for this flat. Right? Which means we can go lower within the impulse. But any buy setup from here going, we will take it as a possibility that this could come all the way to the top. Right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a dollar movement. Part of it could be dollar movement. The rest could be Australian dollar movement. The Aussie is moving regardless of the dollar. So if we get a buy setup here, we'll take it. Do we have a buy setup going? No, we don't. Not at the moment. I don't see a buy setup. We also don't have a sell setup, which means you wouldn't be selling this unless it consolidates here. If this consolidates here, we take one more trade. It's one more trade only, right? The probability is it's going to go back very deep. What we'll be looking for is this to go up at some point here and make a flag for the upside. It goes up, make a flag, we're buying at least back to this level, and then for the breakout. Very likely this is going to break out. So let's see which one we get. I'm going to go for the buy setup for now. So we don't have a setup in it, but I'm going to put mostly looking for a buy setup at this point. And if that changes during the day, well, we will update, but that update will only be for my traders. If you want those updates as twice a day, send me a Skype message. I'll tell you how to get it twice a day. By the way, if you're looking for my Skype, it's MAN, type it very fast, MANGAL 457. That is for those who have never seen it before. Type, sorry, MANGAL 457. Send me a message on Skype. Those messages are kept there for the future if we have to have a conversation again. Let's go. Gold, that was a sell. Right, we got this, we sold, we got this flat. We expect that to go back up. It did go back up. This one, it started to give you sell setups. This would have been a good sell. This here probably would have been a sell that turned out to be a break even. And now we see if you have another sell setup. Nope, we don't have a sell setup. Gold is also the bottom. Structurally, it came back, it broke the low, right? So at some point, this starts to either make a deep correction or actually retest of the top. I don't think this is going to drop all the way back to this bottom. Right? I don't think that's likely going to happen. So we're looking at a 1 hour. It's coming down. Any sell you get, you're going to take it. But any buy setup is a must, which means sell, yes. Buy, absolutely. Do we have any of those? No, we don't have any. Not the buy, not the sell, not even on the 15. So on the 15, we can make an argument for this being the low. If this gives us a flat here and come back to this level, you want it to come back here, we could start with a buy setup for this move only. And hope that that is the takeoff, because it's going to do this and then it could drop pretty much like this, right? You get a 1, 2, 3, it drop, you get a correction, it drop. I don't think this belongs to, this could be the final low, right? Because you had a small correction here too. So that could be the final low. We'll look at that when we go. There's a possibility there might be more running flats or so in between. This will most likely give a buy setup. Right? This will probably come back here. And just like the silver, we're looking for a buy. But if it does come lower, if it comes lower and then go back up, we will take this for a flat and then we'll be selling. So all depends on whether it stays here. It all depends whether it stays in this range or whether it comes in this range. If it comes lower, it's a sell. If it stays here, it's a buy. Those are the two options. I don't know which one it's going to do, so I'll put it mostly for a buy setup. And that is because we're at a very low. That could change within the day. Okay, so this one, we're looking at this structure, and I think we're going to break out of this structure, right? It's kind of looking very, 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 very corrective, which means I wouldn't be surprised if they make a new low and then go, something like this. So if we get a sell set up out of that structure, we'll take it. If you're looking for a buy there, you're likely got a break-even trade. Yeah, that would be a break-even. It went through like 100 times. Now we're in this one. Right, we're in this. I think we're still going to go up. There's a small flag here, but all it has to do is to go back up. We're still looking at a possibility that this is a running flat. Right, so no trade set up there as yet. Euro. Okay, this one dropped. We got this. I think we will put euro as this is the running flat. We were debating that for a while. But I think we can clearly assume that because this dropped that much, there's no running flat there, but this is the bigger running flat. Any buy setup here is going to be perfect, right? We're at a weekly low. We're literally at a yearly low. If you look at it this way, it's going down all the time. Now, nothing goes down forever, especially not in this way, right? See how sharp that move is? This is the correction within this one is for now, or within the even bigger structure. So at some point, this either starts to go back up to this top, or even just back to this level and then drop again. Go back to the 4 hour, let's see how far it's going to go. Any flat or flag we sell, just like that was a sell. Any flag or flat you get, you would sell it. It's making more of a flat, we'll sell. So right now you're getting this, right? Which means this has to go up. It's pretty deep, not all the way to the bottom, but pretty deep. If we get a buy here, we could consider it, at least on this time frame in the 1 hour. Yeah, you're not going to get a buy. Most likely it's going to drop again. So this could probably drop again here. And the lower it comes into this, the more it's a flat. It's going to go back up there, give you this flat, and then drop. So we will take this drop probably from the top here if we get it. Now, can we buy this if it comes lower? Absolutely. If this comes lower here and go back up, we will buy this. We'll take that trade. Although it's pretty deep, in rare cases, they actually go very high. So this will most likely be a buy setup here. The sell here at this one, no. The sell will only come if it drops here sharp, go back up there sharp, then this is the sell. So the sell is a long way from now. Let's look for the buy setup first. So we're looking for the buy setup first in this. And like I said, it depends on how they consolidate. All of that could change. This one is pretty much the same thing. This was a really good sell. That was a nice flag to sell. That was a big picture. Yeah. It did break the low and it's keep dropping more. So how far can this go? Let's see in the weekly. Well, there's no limit to how far it can go. The very low. Oh, did we break this low? The all-time low? I think this was the all-time low. If we broke that, then this is amazing. If this is the real low and we broke it, that is super amazing, right? Because that means two things. One, we actually completed a full down cycle. Literally completed a full down cycle with this being the bigger flat in the middle here, right? Which means this can start to go back up at any time, right? Or consolidate here and drop more, consolidate and drop more, right? We're mostly going down in a channel looking pattern like this. We had a flat here, we got a flat here. So if they make another flat and drop, we know they're going to make a big, but what if this reverses here? And why I say reverse? Because what if we think of this as a more of a like a 1, a 2, and a 3 within a structure that is like this. So this goes back up there and then come back down. In any case, it's upside, right? Even if you have to make that move, it's upside, or you're totally going back up. It's upside. Or you're going to make a bigger flat here, which is you're going to make 1, 2, 3, and then drop again, just like this, right? 1, 2, 3, and drop again, 1, 2, 3, and drop again. So if we're going to make this, if we're going to go up to that one, or if we're going to go up totally, the first move has to be an up move here. So the only question you have left now is, when is that up move starting? Every sell setup will take until it starts. Well, it's easy to see when it's starting. And that means this could be the start of it. All you want this to do is literally go back up here, drop one more to this level, make a flat here, and then that is a buy. Now, this would take a couple hours, maybe, I don't know, maybe by the end of today, before we actually see whether it's a buy. If that happens, that's an amazing buy. But what if it actually comes lower? What if this actually comes lower here? Should we sell this? And the question is, well, no, because the answer is no, because you don't know how far it's going to break this low by, right? But if it comes all the way here, all you have to do is let it go back up and then sell this for the next drop. See this one? 1, 2, it goes back up, then you get the sell. This was a sell, this was a sell. I think this could have been a sell. So the same thing would happen here. You'd get a sell set up here, and you'll take that trade. Can we buy this if we see it? Absolutely. If we see the buy setup, and it has a risk to reward it. So as it stands right now, both sides possible, the up and the down. But it's amazing we broke that low, because I wasn't thinking of them breaking that low. I was thinking of them just breaking, the low before the correction, low of the correction, and then go back up. So let's see. This is getting more interesting than I wanted it to be. So we're going to look for both sides here, right? Now both sides possible. Aussie, same structure. This is much even simpler than that, because this is just a big impulse and a deep correction. A big impulse and a deep correction. This is crystal clear, right? If the pound is making all-time low, Aussie is actually correcting downwards. So this would definitely be a sharp impulse to the upside. The pound will also be a sharp impulse to the upside, but it's going to be the first impulse, not the second impulse. This one would be second impulse. This has a higher probability of going than the pound. The pound could go slow. This one would likely go very fast. So the same thing, we're waiting for where is the low of this. But we don't have divergence internally in this piece. So it means they can make another correction and go back up. On the higher time frame, you do have divergence. You can see the divergence here right now. But in the lower time frame, you don't, which means at any point in time, you can make a correction. You do have here, you can make a correction and drop again. It's pretty easy. Every correction you get, we'll sell. Every one you get, you'll sell. If we get another one here, we'll sell. This was a sell here, by the way, that you should have closed already. And let's see what we have here. It's kind of going up. You've got a little pullback here. You've got a little pullback here. I wanted to break through all of this. I wanted to go out of this and then make a flag that we can buy. Will we take this flag if we get a buy? Maybe. What if it's the sell? This is only the first move up of a sell. See, that was only the first move. You got a lot of moves in there, right? If you remember this one as well. Sharp move up, came down pretty deep, make another sharp move up, couldn't finish a flat. So you had another flat, 1, 2, 3. Well, this is only the first move up. So if you're going to make a flat here, we have to come back all the way to the bottom here. Go back up there, make a flat, and only then you get a sell setup. Should we sell this? You can, but it's dangerous. You can see the way they come down if you look at them fast. See, this one was fast, but this one here was, well, that was even super fast, and then they went back up. Most of them, they're pretty slow. Right? Most of these middle moves are pretty slow. So this one could be really, really slow. This one does have a correction. These two were super fast. You put it in 50, right? These two here were really, really fast compared to this, right? This had a correction there, a correction here, then go back. So it's still much slower than the other two, right? We were even looking for that sell, then we closed it for break even. We expected to go back up. This would have been a sell. I think this here could have been a sell. Maybe not this piece, but this here and this one would be a sell. This would definitely be a sell. Right now, we just have to wait and see. Let's see what this does, right? If it comes here and go back up there, we will definitely be buying this. Right? If it drops here and do this and come here, we wait for it to go back there and then look for the sell. Again, it's open. Right now, as of today, maybe an update on Wednesday would be, tomorrow would be good to tell you where they're all going. Let's see. And okay, this one is much better in that you've got a really sharp move up here and we're making a flat here. This flat would be a buy. This has to come way down to the bottom here and go back up before it becomes a sell. So right now, that is a buy setup we're looking for. Yen should probably, well, if you remember the yen trade, what we were showing you, right, is that this is going to come back here. Once it breaks the top, we're going to look for a running flat. It did happen, and we expect this to go back up. So this might correct a little, go back, break this top, but that's about it. We only think they're going to break the top, and how high it goes after that, but it's anybody's guess, because after that we're expecting downside. Right? Go back up to the top there and then come down. So let's see. We'll come back to the 1 hour. That's a perfect flat for upside. So this would probably go up. While the rest are correcting, this could probably make an up move. On the 15 minutes, it's kind of consolidating here nicely. You can see this. This might drop a little more. I think this is first going to drop. I don't know if you want to take it. They don't really drop very far. So it's probably going to still be in this range before you down. We need to break this top. Break that up and then look for the sell. We'll look for that buy. Short-term sells in here. Well, I don't know. We'll consider it when it comes to it. So we're looking for a buy setup here too. CAD. This is the one we have a sell setup in. So we want this to literally consolidate here. Do this and then we go for the sell. But you can put that sell there already if they're making the first impulse. So we're putting this as a sell already, but knowing that it might not go right now, which means it's either going to tag us and make a running flat, or this goes up here and then we will change the entry order. And I think we could stay here for a while, and that would be a better trade for us to go down. We're looking for a sell setup. The CAD is at the top here, and then now you have to decide, well, is CAD actually going to go back all the way to the top, or is it just a flat? So it's moving really fast, which means we could break that top. See, this piece starts to get really aggressive, which means this might turn out to be just a flat. Probably come here, go back up, come here, go back up there. If we see this flat here, we are absolutely going to that top. Right now, it has to totally drop or make a flat. Right now, it has to tell us, is it going to break the top now? Is this all we have? 1, 2, 3, and we're going up? Or is this a flat that is coming down? That is the point where most of the flats came down from, right? So if you look at this one, this had a 1, 2, 3, this had a 1, 2, 3. These flats were pretty shallow, right? It's about 50%, about 50%. So this is the move down. This is about 50%. This is more than 50%. So now it has to literally go down, make a new low, and then go back up, or just continue to go from here. So it's pretty simple. We'll take the sell and then we'll figure out what to do with that, right? We'll figure out if it's dropping or it's making a bigger flat. A bigger flat is a possibility. So take those out. Swiss, let's see where we are. We're above the top on the Swiss. I think this one is straight because this move is sharp. It's really, really sharp. And when it's really sharp, like all these moves are sharp, see? They're all really, really sharp. Not making quite a lot of sense right now. I can't even see the contracting flats in them. So we'll wait to see what this does. If this comes back here and go back up there, this would be your first flat. And we take that as the starting point for the middle, the corrective structure. At some point, this will tell us what it's doing. Remember when we were having issue with the CAD with this one? I remember we were really having a lot of trouble with, not with that one, with, take this off. We were having trouble with this piece here, figuring out what it was doing. And I still think we're left with that problem. If this is making this as a flat, if we look at this as some kind of a flat there, with this being a flat in the middle, like a 1, 2, 3, then we still have to go back up, pull back here, go back up, break the top, come back sharp, and then go to make this a running flat. Because this would be a flat of its own, right? It's not part, it can be put with that. This has too much correction, this one is too strong. Unless we go back with what we had as a contracted flat there, which I don't like. So we'll wait and see. This should come back down because this is really sharp. So at some point, this has to go back down. Do we have a sell setup? Not at the moment, but it's correcting here. If it corrects there, we'll sell it. And if that makes correction there, we'll sell it. So you want this to actually go back to the top there, probably come back and go back, make this flat, and then we'll go for the sell. So if we see a flat form here, we'll go for the sell. I'll put it as looking for a flag for the sell. Euro-yen. Okay, let's see the big picture. Go back to the 4 hour. So we can assume that this is the running flat. I think we can go with that because you have this big correction in the middle. You have this and you have that. So I'll take this out. We were already assuming that it was a running flat from here, but then it dropped one more. Let's see if this could still be the running flat to the upside. Yeah, I still believe we can make one more up. And I don't see this as total downside, but if that starts to become the total downside, we'll go with it. Let's go to 1 hour and see now. It could still be, but I don't think so. I think this might have finished already because you're kind of making a correction at the top there. Yeah, we're kind of making a correction at the top here. If you take this as the first impulse up, then all of this would be a correction in this range. So this would have to probably come back here, and then we look for the buy setup. Come back to the bottom here, and then we look for the buy setup. Because I'm looking at a 1, 2, 3, and then you have a 1, 2, 3. Come back down and then look for the buy. So put it like this. Wait for this to pull back here. Wait for this to pull back to this level, and then we look for a buy setup. If we break the top and make a flag, we start buying. It means this correction is over. It's a smaller one than I think. I'm looking for a bigger one. But if it's a smaller one, we buy from them. I still think it's a buy. The sell will be tomorrow, 2 days after this works its way down like this. Go back there, then we get a sell setup. Otherwise, so that's a buy setup for now. Wait for a flag for the buy. Hung in. Yep. It went lower than expected, so that changes everything. We thought it would drop here and go back there. This piece was the trouble. So now that we broke that low, how do we look at it? Let's see. Let's go in the daily, see what we can, how we can restructure this. We're still in this daily correction, but it's what's happening at the top there that is the problem. Take this out. Can it still go back up for a possible running flat? 1, 2, 3, go back up there. Well, that would be a regular flat, not a running flat. Or is all of this part of the structure? Let's take this out and take this out. If we assume that is not a running flat, let's say that is correct. Let's say this is all part of the correction. Then you're going to have 1, 2, 3 lower than this point all the way back to the bottom here. And now go back up. So take this out. It went much lower. So it's still part of a correction, right? So we thought it would stop here and go back up. Can it stop here and go back up like this? Still this move up, right? We're still looking for that move up. So can it stop there and go back up from here? After which this would probably be part of it. If that is the case, then this becomes part of the whole structure. And all of this becomes a correction of its own. We put all of this as a correction of its own here. Everything in here. And then this just becomes a bigger one. Which means we still have to break the top. Go back there. Probably come back here. If we look at this that way, 1, 2, 3, and then go up. Let's see in the big picture what that would be. Go make a new high. And after that, we'll probably go make it. It'll be more complex than that, but after that, we're making a new high. So very likely we're getting something deep like this. Something deep like this, and then make a new high. More correction in here, because that is already becoming a bigger correction. Let's see if we have a buy setup here. Go back to the 1 hour. Well, you first have a sell setup, which is this one, right? Especially if this goes back up there and then drop, you got this trade and then upside. But these ranges are huge, right? The size of that range is how much? This alone is how much? That's 378 pips. So you can trade within that range. And when you have such big ranges, you can trade within the range. Do it like this. Wait for this trade up, right? This one probably will even go back up higher. Wait for a drop, wait for a flag, sell it to break this low, and then we look for the upside. It all depends on how high this goes before we get it. But it's going to be a good trade. So you're waiting for a flat at the top there. You've got an impulse. It's making a flat at the top here. Come back here, then go back up. Let's get the sell first. Wait for a flag for the sell, then we go. Swiss yen. Big picture. This dropped, but it broke the top first, which means it's not the way we were looking at it. We were expecting this to drop without breaking the top, right? Even it could even come back to the top and drop here and then go back up. So now that you broke the top and dropped somewhere in here, this is over. Either we find a contracting flat in here. Let's see if we possibly could find one there. Was there a pullback in here? We'd have to look at this, whether there's a pullback in here. Yeah, they were pullback. There was a pullback really deep here. So if you want to go with that pullback, that might be the only chance to, assume that we have a flat somewhere here. Which would mean this would be something like this. I would not, this would be 1, 2, 3 of its own to the top there. 1, 2, 3. And this is the start of the downside. Right? So an expanding flat in the middle. Where does this put us? That's the first impulse up. This is just the first impulse up. That by itself really doesn't mean anything. So now it could either work its way back up to the top, pull back here and go, or just stay in this range and drop. This is a huge range. So the question is which? Is it going to do 1, 2, 3 and then go something like this? Or is it going to just, stay here and then start dropping? Let's see what the bigger picture tells us. Well, we're at the point where it could drop, right? We're at the point here where from this point it could come back to this low, right? It doesn't necessarily have to go back up. As a matter of fact, we're looking for one of this, one of that, and then go back up. This has to be a flat, very similar to this flat. And if you remember those two flats, but to the weekly, it's going to be easier for you to see. So we had this one here. And now we're looking for a possibility to get this one. Come back here and then go. So if we get sell setups, that would be good. The range is huge. You're talking about a really huge range. So let's go back here. And this is very, very flat, which is good. This would probably come lower within this structure. Like go there, come lower, go there, come lower, and then we start to look for this move up. Now, if we're thinking downside, we want this to come much lower here and then go back up. That would give us a flat for downside. If this starts to go up from here, we can end up all the way back at the top here. Make one here and go again. So let's see. Let's go back into the 15 minutes and see if we get a buy or a sell setup. This is the range we're in. We're going to go with this range. Right? This is going up. Very likely it's going to consolidate. So this could come down back. Wait for this to go up. See if you want to trade it back to the bottom here. If there's a trade. Because this one is clearly up, right? 1, 2, 3. This one kind of, you could go in there, made a pullback, go, made a pullback, go. You could look at a running flat in there, drop here, go back there, come back here, something like this, eventually before you go up. I don't think this is the one taking off. We don't have any reason to believe that is. We'll see. I don't see any buy setup in it. Right? There isn't any really buy setup. So we'll consider whether we take the sell first. We're in that range. The range from here to here is very short. Yeah, that's 76 pips with a stop that will give you this stop, which is 60 pips and a very high risk trade. I'd rather this go up and we get the sell. We get this move down, right? Those sharp move down, right? You'll probably put a stop at the top and you'll target the break of that low. So let's see if we get that. I'm looking for a flag to sell. CAD and okay, this one already came back to the bottom, so that just make your life a little easier, right? It's going back to the top. And this was a sell, and a sell. This one is amazing. What's the sharp move? We'll have to figure out what that sharp move is. And whether we can put it with anything. I'm not sure if we can put it with this one. We had that one that was relatively sharp this here. You can make an argument for that, or we'll get it in the future. This is really sharp down, so I wouldn't really put this with anything in this move here. It has to be something in the past, not in the future. Come back to that. It does have a three-wave structure itself, just like the previous one. This has the three-wave structure, right? The 1, a 2, and the 3. You could look at this as the same thing here. This had a 1, and 2, and a 3. A 1, and 2, and a 3, but then you had a correction inside, you had a correction inside, you had a correction inside. So would this be some kind of a running flat? Maybe. We'll look at that afterwards. Let's come back and see what we have. And they're all making flats. This one is the best flat so far. Because this came back all the way to the bottom. So all you want this to do is work its way back to the top there and then look for a sell setup. If we stay here longer, no problem. From the top, we're selling. And if it goes back up, we'll consider if we get buy. But once it breaks the top, we're selling. So I'll look for a sell setup. New Zealand yen. Okay, here you can make an argument for running flat. It is coming down. It actually is where we want it to go. So remember I told you guys take snapshot of these patterns. I think we had all of them, big patterns. New Zealandian, I think CAD had a similar one, right? CAD had a similar one for this to come back here. This is going to drop some more. This is already telling us it's going to drop at least one more. And when it drop one more, we'll be careful. So when it drop one more here, they can start to go back up. If we consider this a running flat, right? We had it on New Zealandian. I think the Pongian had one too. Yeah, but the Pongian one is slightly different now because it broke the low, right? We think it would stop here and go back up and then come back down. So it came lower. That doesn't change structurally anything. It just changes the way the pattern develops. So a different pattern, which means from a running flat to an expanding flat or something like that. I think we had one in the Swiss yen. No, not the Swiss yen. We had one on one of the other yen pairs. I think Aussie yen, sorry, had it there. So Aussie yen is the same thing, right? So which means this is coming down somewhere. So let's go back to the New Zealand and look for the sell setup. There's one more sell to the bottom. And by the way, these arrows were here for a very, very long time, right? We didn't just put them there. So here's the thing. Can this be the low and they go back up from here? Absolutely. What will be the buy setup? The buy setup will be making a flat here for us to buy. Could it be they're making a running flat here and drop one more? I think so. We don't have a sell setup. Once we get a sell setup, we'll take the trade. So what would be the sell setup? Well, drop, make a small flag, and we'll sell it. Drop, make a small flag, and it's in for a sell. I do believe we can drop one more. But if it makes a flat here, we will buy, which means if this comes back here and decide to go up, we will still buy it. Because this could be the end. You know, the arrows are just an indication of how far it could go, not how far it has to go. The same thing here. So this one I'll leave open, both sides possible. Aussie yen. I think this is also making a running flat. We can make an argument for this making a running flat here. And probably will drop one more. We're expecting this to go down a little more too. You can see that. It had a big correction there. It had a small correction there. So corrections are not a problem. We were expecting that to go. And you can look for a sell setup coming back here. So I think very likely the Aussie will be a sell. We're not going to sell it from the bottom here. There's no sense. There's no point doing that. Wait for it to get it from the top. So do we have a sell setup? No, I expect this to go up some more. Let this go up some more, make the flag here, and then we start selling from here, right? Like this, take that flag down. So once it goes up to the top there, we'll assume that this is over. We can probably take it from this one or from this one, depending on how we look at the structure. This could be 1, 2, 3, and that should drop. Can it drop here, go back up and drop again? Yeah, but that'll give you break even. So let's see. I wait for this to go up, and then we're waiting for the sell setup. The buy here is not a great idea, so wait for the sell setup. Let it go up first. Then we wait for the sell setup. Euros. Okay, so we're still in this big one, right? That hasn't changed. We're still here. That thing is getting bigger and bigger and crazier as it goes, right? It's still a sell setup. This is a sell setup. So you remember we're selling this to come back here. Still doing the same thing. This is still a corrective structure, right? Very likely it's a corrective structure to go higher. We're in this pattern. So we're going to get to this stop. We started from here, but it's likely going to go more like, let me just see the same size. We're looking at, take that off. Sorry. Put back this here. We're looking at something like this, right? You see these deep corrections, or we're probably going to make a deep one here and then go. So there's a good chance this is going to make a deep correction here, and then this will break out from here going up there. So let's see in the 1 hour. We go for the sell. And we'll take it to retest this low. Now, it doesn't mean this is the sell that will retest that low, but we'll take it and then we'll see where it goes from there, right? I'm not sure this is the sell. We can't sell it under here. That's a little risk. We have to sell it under here, right? Simply because you can make a flat here. You can see that this could come here, go back up there. And then if it does that, we'll put the entry here. We'll try to get entry from the top there. Right, if we get a flag before, it's okay. But this is one, that is one. I think they can stay here for a while, go back there, and then make a bigger flat here, right? Like this did, see? It broke out, come back, and then go. So we can see this making a bigger flat before it drops. But put the entry, because if it drops now, you want to trade. You put a stop here, your target is way down under this one. So I like the trade as a sell setup. Worst case, you're gonna get a break even first, and then you'll get the trade. So let's see. Euro CAD. Yep, we've got a sell setup. Take that out. We've got a sell setup here. This didn't break that top, so we'll take this off. And we'll go with this. We're in this structure. All right, let's see what the big picture is. Okay, we did break this top. So we're in this something like this. No, we put it like this. And like this. This is the low, that's the upside. So here's the question. Can we go with this now as the running flat? Can we go with this as the running flat for upside? I think it makes sense, right? Remember, we're expecting this to come back here and make a running flat and then go. So we can make an argument for that. This had a 1, 2, 3, that is some correction there. This had one correction only. Pretty deep, but one single correction. Do we have something there to match that one? You can use any of these. You can use any of these, or you can just leave it on its own. On its own, it's not a bad correction. So this flat, that's the top, this drop, correct drop. Now you're here. So here's the thing. Is it upside or downside right now? Right now, if this drop, we sell it. If this works its way back to the top there, we wait for this to come back and then we buy. This move will be a big move to the upside. I'm more inclined to believe we're going up because that sharp pullback is really, really strong. So what you want this to do is do this. You want this to actually work its way back to the top there. Right? Pull back here and then go. We'll go with that flat. Can we buy this up? I think that might be worth doing. Right? If you get a buy setup there and a shorter time frame, might be worth doing. Or give it time to climb up slowly on its own and then wait for a pullback and buy. So this one is open, but if we get a buy setup, we'll take it. Euro Swiss, 4 hour. We got that trade, but it didn't go all the way to the top. It dropped again. So now we're stuck with how we look at this. We were expecting this to make a running flat, which is 1, 2, 3, and then come down. So instead, we got this. If we still look at that as an impulsive move, we've got a really sharp move here and a really sharp drop, which by itself doesn't make sense. That was a trade we bought, by the way, on Thursday. Take this out. Thursday or Wednesday, we had that buy, and this is going up. So can we assume that this is some kind of a running flat for more downside and then go back up? That possibility exists. Do we have a sell setup here? That's the question. Well, no, not as yet. But if we get it, we'll take it. Can it actually make a flag here and go up one more and then come down? That is also possible, right? But this upside would be limited for now. I don't think, unless we get something to put this with. We don't have anything to put that with. Right? So literally, it should come down back, then go back up. We'll look for a sell setup. We'll wait for a sell setup. We don't have it right now. You're in New Zealand. Okay, this trade, we're already looking at it. If you put the entry order here now, right? For my traders, if you put the entry order here now, put the stop above the top, above that top, right? So let's assume that small correction. I do think it will make a bigger correction. I think it's going to do this, go back up there, make a flat, and then come here. So at this point, we look for this for upside or total downside. Let me show you the bigger picture. Last week, we wanted it to come and break this top. Remember, we said let it break that top before we look for sell setups. So any sell setup we get, we'll take, because two options. This is a flat. We're coming back here, and then we're going to go up. Or this is a deep pullback, and this will just continue to go. Now, at this point, they will tell us which one it is. At this point, we will know which one it is, depending on how this behaves. Now, we've got a series of sharp moves here. We got this one, you got this one, you got this one. There are a lot of sharp moves here. Any combination of those could be a running flat. You could make a contracting flat in there. There are many versions of how you can put these flats together, and they're all correct, right? So when that happens, what you have to do is what we have now and what is it doing now, the bigger picture. Go back to the bigger picture. The bigger picture say, well, from this point, we can drop. We can also make a running flat and go back up, which means this could become a running flat and go back up. Just like you can go with any series of running flats here, right? Any series of running flats in here. See that? So this could be a running flat and go back up. All we need to do is take this trade, get it to break even. And if we're lucky, we're coming all the way back to the bottom. If not, we'll get break even and it goes up. In that range, you could get better than break even. So go to the 15. If you put this entry in here, agree that it could tag you and then pull back. Not go back to the top, but pull back, make a flat here and then drop. Because I don't think that's a, oh, sorry, did I stop sharing accidentally? No, something closed. Okay, my choice. Anybody want to tell me what just happened? Something just happened. You guys can still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so what the hell just happened? I'm still sharing screen. Okay,
Yes.
I don't know. Something I clicked accidentally in my computer. All the screens on my computer blinked. So sorry for that. Let's go. Yeah. The recording is still on, yeah. So what we're looking for is that this would probably go back here, right? It could be that this is small flat, like this is a small one, and they drop. So we take the trade, put a stop here, manage that trade down to this level, go for break even. If it stays here, break even. You know the rules, right? Basically, I don't have to go through the rules here. You guys know the rules, but take the trade. We put that in trade and we manage that trade because sometimes it can really drop here and then go back up. So we'll put this as a sell, put that as a sell, and we'll go with that sell, right? Let's go. Euro pound. 1 second, guys. Let me just pause for a second here. Resume recording it. Yep, let's go again. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So we're looking at this. This would come down here. I don't think, it's up to you guys if you want that. Put a stop here, go for this. It could stop anywhere and go back up. We're looking for this, and then that literally is downside. Let's go in the bigger picture now. If that is going to go down, where to? Well, this was a nice buy. I don't know if you guys got it because I understand that happened on the Sunday night, but that would have been amazing if any one of you got it. Just out of curiosity, we know what it's going to do. The problem is sometimes you don't know, right, when it's going to happen. So if you that Sunday, that doesn't happen. This one happened when that candle is 23rd of September. That was Friday. So you guys should get this one. This was still the 23rd. This one here was the 20. Okay, you didn't get that. You got it to about this level. So at least this trade you should have got. I'm in the 1 hour. Close here. This was a good buy. Close it there. And now we're going for the sell. So big picture, let's go daily. Okay, that's a sharp move up, much sharper than I expected it to be. And we're pulling back really sharp. So are we literally making something like this? Let's take this out here for a second. Let's take all of this out. I want to see, could this be something separate forming here? But so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Why would we be in such a big flat here? Why would it make a big flat? It means all of this is some kind of a big correction. This entire thing. See in the weekly what it looks like. It is strange. This sharp move just made that whole thing very, very strange. We'll have to relook at this whole thing eventually. 1, 2, 3, that's for sure. This is 1, 2, 3, that is for sure. I think this pattern kind of completed itself here. That's an impulse. So if this is a sharp move, this could be a series of sharp moves forming this way, right? Like this. You had the first sharp pullback, then you drop, flat, pull back, sharp, pull back. So somewhere in the future here, we're going to get that. A year from now, we'll know. Anyway, let's sell it. Go back to the 4 hour. It's a sell. It's a perfect sell setup. You can't ask for anything better than that. Now, the range is big, so we're not going to put a stop there. We're going to try to get it here. Like I said, if you're taking this right now, it's a huge range. Let me see how much pips is this. From here to the bottom, it's 72. You can get 30 pips and close the trade. Put a stop here, right? If you're in the trade. If not, watch it when it comes here. It's going to go back up, right? We want it to come to somewhere here. Probably even make another flat drop here, go back there, do this, and then we look for a trade from here going down. We're going to take this flag, put a stop here, and go with this one. So we might even buy it back up because the full range is how much? Yeah, that's 185. So we might even buy it back up. We're trading in this range now until we get a flag. How big the flag is going to be, I don't know. We'll go with that trade. So if you're in the sell, just trade it with caution, right? So I would just put it as open both ways for now. Pancad, the opposite. Same here. But this one, you probably want to be careful of. This one doesn't have a lot to go, right? Let it go there, come back here, and this is an upside. So this also was a downside trade, right? That flat. We wanted this to come and break this top and then drop, right? That was it. That when I left, that was the plan, right? Let this go up, let this come here, go back up there, break this top, and then drop. Well, that's exactly what happened. I'm not sure when that happened. If it happened Sunday, nobody should get it. If it happened Friday, maybe some of you got it. What's the big picture now? Okay, we have a lot of open places with this. A lot of open places. Like, where do we put this? If you put it with this one, then why do we have such a big flat here? That's a problem. That's a huge flat. And we actually broke this low. All the punk pairs, they actually broke the low. So when you break the low, consider it, end of the structure. Let's see the bigger picture. What is this? I don't see anything to go with this sharp wave. I don't see anything to go with this actually. So there's a good chance we can do this here. There's a very good chance for that. Pretty much like this, see this? There's a very good chance for that. There's another one here. You can make an argument for this one here. All right, so we get a drop, we get a flat, we get a drop, we get this. This could probably go, because this is still a huge consolidation, regardless of how we look at it. Or we probably go back up and then drop one more. Let's see in the 4-hour. Daily. We have to go back and look at that whole structure, the entire correction, this entire piece. Because this is the middle of it, right? That is a 1, 2, 3. So the question is whether we take this up with that one, and then this just is a 1, 2, 3 of its own. It's possible. We'll go back, look at it. Let's look for buy setups. From now, we were the low. We're going back up. This is amazing. Put in the 1 hour, and this is, you can't answer something better than this. Really sharp impulse. Let this finish what it's doing. We look for the sell. We don't know how deep it's going to go, so we'll take the sell, and then we're going to look for the buy up. Right? Can we buy into this? Well, the Euro Pong, you can trade it. I don't think this one has. Yeah, this might not be worth it. Because you have to put a stop here, and you're targeting just that top, if anything. So not the best one. And then it could stop there and come back down. So I think we let this do what it's doing, and then we look for this down and then up. And finish what it's doing. We look for the sell and then wait for it. I'll leave it open. Pound Swiss, same here. All the punk pairs are becoming interesting. See, you're getting a flat there. Let this come back down. We'll see if we get a sell. We'll get a sell from here to break this low and then up. All of them up. This one is even better than those because this one was what? We'll come back to the big pictures. I'm short of time. Someone is coming. I have to go meet the person. So we're in this. What is this big range here? Okay, so I think we were talking about this just before I left. The possibility of this doing this, right? Which is coming here and going back up to the top there for a flat. Right, so let's see if that is possible, because this could go back all the way back to the top, make that bigger flat before it drops. So come back to this one, especially with that sharp pullback. That is definitely going to go up somewhere. And this one is already at the top. So this is much easier for us. It is already at the top here. Let it go, break the top possible even. You want it to even break the top, then pull back and then get a running flat to go. So whether we get that sell or not, we'll decide, but we'll get the buy. Right? It's a question of whether we get the sell. And that should be the same for all the punk pairs. And I don't have to go through all of them. I'm just going to show you, we'll go through the bigger picture afterwards. I'm running out of time. Same thing. This might be a buy because you still have a lot of space to the top here. See? And they could be running flats. So if you're going to buy those on the lower time frame, with caution, right? Just be aware. I think it would be preferable for it to actually come here and then go back up, take the flag here, see how high that goes. Wait, sell this, look for the upside. Right, so we'll look for that possibility. It could be more complex. I'm drawing the simple one, right? They could spend much more time making up and down here, which means we can trade the range. The range is big. The range is 100 and something pips. 300 and something pips is a tradable range, right? Aussie, New Zealand. Okay, we tagged the top when we are coming down. That's the weekly daily top. That's some huge top somewhere. Right? This top here, right? So we're in this sideways move. We tagged the top. Here's the thing. Can we consider this the end of the structure, right? Remember, we had this sharp wave. And for those of you who would remember, when we broke that low, we assumed this was going to come here and then come down back. And then it made a big flat in the middle, which kind of throws us off, right? Every time you get that, it's thinking, well, it still looks like a correction. But now we broke the top. So that completes the pattern, regardless of what we think. We do have a 1, we have a 2, and we have a 3 with an expanding flat in play. I don't think we have a contracting flat here, right? I'm not looking at this as a possible contracting flat in the middle, right? Let's say something like this, taking this as the low as a 1, 2, 3 for the low and then go back up. So I think all of this is a big expanding flat. Any sell setup there to the downside is a move big like this. So let's go with it for 1 hour. I think we're getting a sell setup right now, right? Let's see in the 15. Well, you will get a sell setup if this pulls back. If this pulls back like this, you have a sell setup. Put an entry, put a stop, go for that trade. All right, we broke the top, we're reversing. That's a good one. I like it. Go for the trade. Let's see if we get that one back. So we're looking for a sell setup here. Aussie CAD. Okay, this had to come down. Did we want to break the low? I don't think we wanted to break the low. We just wanted to come down and go back up, but we broke the low, so go expanding flat. All right, so we're going to take this as an expanding flat here. Now it should go back up like this, right? You're looking for an upside. Let's see if this goes back up. Look for a buy setup. Let it finish what it's doing here. Look for a buy setup. 1 second, guys. I have to mute again. Okay, sorry about that again. Yeah, I still have a cold, so my apologies if I'm going to stop a few more times before I end the webinar. Yeah, we're looking for a buy setup. I think it's incomplete. This could be a running flat. So if you get a buy setup, take it. Right, this in the lower time period could be a running flat. We get a buy setup here, we take it, and we keep the stop under the low. It's going to go up slow, right? The first move up was really slow. This one wasn't that fast. These two were sharp, but that one, so look for buy setup. You could even take it inside the structure, just keep a stop under the low and manage to trade to the upside. So we're looking for a buy setup here. Aussie Swiss. Yeah, this one is going to go, but the big picture is downside. This one is going to go here, break that top. It could stay here for a while more, which means, but this whole thing is corrected, which means we're going to come back here and then go up. We're looking at a 1, 1, 2, 3, and then upside. Right, let's go. So I don't know if we decide not to take that buy this morning. We're only waiting for it to break the top, then we look for a sell. So I'll put it looking for a sell setup. Let's go. New Zealand Swiss. Okay, this is what I'm talking about, the Aussie Swiss. See this? It broke and now it's going up. This is a buy setup to go back for this one. Right? This is the one you're looking for now. So buy setup here is a good idea. Let's see, we have the buy setup. I'm on the 15 in it. If you got tagged, you got to be careful. You could take the trade. But if it pulls back slightly here and then go, that would be the amazing trade. Right? You want to put an entry above the top just in case it put a stop here. It makes sense. The move up is big. Right? What if it's a small one? Or you can wait for the bigger one. Wait for this to pull back, confirm the upside, and then take the trade. So this would be a running flat because we broke the low. Right? I like this. Look for a buy. I look for a buy setup here. New Zealand CAD, same here. Let's see the bigger picture. That sell was good, but I think, well, this you have to be careful. It could still be a correction for downside. This whole thing could still be a correction. This one actually dropped really sharp, but they could end up doing this again. See, end up doing that and then drop. Wait for a proper buy setup. If we get a buy setup from here, we'll take it. We don't have it, so wait for that. CAD Swiss. I think you're getting a buy setup here now. Literally, let's go to the bigger time frame. Let's go to the daily. Oh, this could actually become a bigger flat for downside. So put it here. Right, we sold that one from the break of this here. This would be a few sells there. Now it's making a big flat. Consider it a big flat. Let's see how low this comes. And then go back up there for a sell. So this might not be one that goes up. This might be a sell setup because we're under the biggest structure and very likely downside. So this turned out to be what we wanted it to be. Let's see if this turned out to be what we wanted it to be. So sell to the downside. Not sure if you get a sell setup, you can consider it. Depending on the range. If this becomes a flag, we could consider selling it to drop a very sharp down and then go back up. Wait for a sell setup. See if this gives you a sell setup here. Natural gas. Okay, we're going up now. Is it time for the upside? Yep. You could go back up from here now, right? This would be more of a flat. This is the one we're looking for. So this could go back up from there. If you get buy setup, take it. Let's see in the 1 hour. Get a flag here, buy it. Oil. I hope you guys got the sell in the oil. I couldn't have exaggerated that sell in the oil more, right? I think Thursday I pretty much I gave all the possible explanation I could as to why I could drop, and that's a good one. If you took it, you're doing amazing. Let's see if we get a sell setup here. We had a sell setup here, but that will be a break even. So wait for this to pull back, look for another sell setup. Wait for a sell setup. Same with the UK oil, wait for a sell setup. We don't have buy setups on them, at least not as yet, right? This one is at some level. What is that line about? We discussed something with this. I can't remember what, so I'll take it off. So keep selling. Remember when we said this, the possibility is this could just keep dropping. Many reasons for that. We're not going to go into all the reasons here, right? Including the patterns that say sell, right? So that's like one. We might get a running flat. I'm not sure this has anything to do with a running flat here, but a lot of corrections in this. So I would probably be looking out for a little more up move. Not this small one, but like this could, if it makes a move up and give you a flag here, we will buy this up and then they drop, right? A possible running flat could be here on both of the oil. So if it stays as a flag here, you sell. But if it starts to go up, we will consider just this up move and then go for the sell. Right? I'm not looking for big up moves. Any big up moves, it's correction for running flat. S&P 500, you got that sell, you're getting another sell. We are at the bottom, so there's one more sell here. This is going to go up, and then you're going to get another sell here. Go back to the 4 hour, let's see. Yeah, we're going to drop through the bottom. So these patterns are amazing, right? Watch it when it comes here. Here's what we're going to look for, 2 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you already guess what I'm thinking, right? This is either a WXY exit and then it goes up like that, or this is a leading diagonal, and then you see 1, 2, 3. Well, if you see this, you should be really, really happy. Well, I don't know if you should be happy. I shouldn't say that, because what is going to happen next is this. And this is going to be super sharp. This is going to be a big surprise. It's going to go back up there, maybe even break out of this structure like this after this. And then you're going to see that sharp drop. Any sell setup from here, we'll take. If it goes up from this point, we will buy it. Right? Once it breaks this low and it starts to give buy setup, we'll take the buys. Because the first impulse up on the flat is also an impulse, right? Sharp move up. So we look for buys. And then if that buy continues to go well, good for us. We're making a new high. In the big picture of thing, I wouldn't be surprised if it drops. Like I said, if this comes here and then go back and start to do this, right? It's going to be like a 1, 2, 3. You'll see something like this, and then you get that drop. We're in it. Well, I shouldn't exaggerate the drop like that, right? But you get my point, right? I don't think this is either a leading diagonal, and then we're going to get a big drop. Let's see. Stay with it. You have a sell set up here again. That's a sell. You could actually put that sell on. I think it's ready for the upside. Yeah, it's going to go a little more up. Oh, by the way, wait a second. We did break out of this. Did we make a low? Yeah, we made a low here. So you can make an argument for this going up a little more. Not much more. Right? You can make an argument. Take this straight for the upside. We have a sharp one here. So even if we're making another flat and then go up, and then this would be a big flat. This could also be an expanding flat for downside. So if you're taking the buy setup on a lower time frame, go cautious with it, right? Because this sharp will, see the sharp pull back here. If you're taking it a buy there, sorry, I was going to put it more like keep a stop under the low. It could go back up some more. I do think we're going to go back up some more. So that should be the same for, no, sorry. That should be the same for this one. Let's see. So we're going to put aggressive buy. We're going to put aggressive buy, but then short-term sell, right? So this one, again, you could go with an aggressive buy to retest this top. Just an aggressive buy if you want to retest that top. And keep a stop here. And then we will see whether all of this is one big correction. All of this here is just one huge correction, right? For downside. Same should be here. You could get, this one would be expanding flat or running flat. This one you have to be careful. It could be running flat. I don't think that is all. It could be that is all and that's a low. But then you have a running flat in here, right? This is going to pull back. So this could probably just go like that, come back here and then go. And this would be a correction for downside. There's more downside in all of these. We did break the lows, but there are more downside. Okay. We broke that low. This one could be finished. Let's see. Yeah, this could be over. We broke the low. So it doesn't necessarily have to go more, but I think they'll drop more. Just keep an eye on it. Because not all of them broke the low. So I'll put aggressive buy, but you'll manage it from there. Let's go DAX. Okay, this is a very long webinar. DAX is at the low, look for a sharp move up. Nifty, I'm going to go very fast now. Nifty broke through, so let's see what we have on the 1 hour. Again, I don't think that's the top when we're going back down, right? If we're going back down from there, we expected this to come back here and then go. So it's either going to go up now, look for a buy, or if it consolidates here for more downside, then we will go with a one. We'll go with this making the top there and then turning. Where would that put us? It'll put us in a really huge flat, a really, really huge flat, because we didn't break that up. So we'll wait for that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all the cryptos on a separate webinar. I have to go now, so that'll be a short one. I'll close this here. This will be on YouTube. You guys please go support it, and I would see all of you in the room, trading room for the London Open in about 45 minutes, maybe a little more than that, right? And then 45, 50 minutes out here. Take care, trade with care. See all of you.